Hello everyone, my name is Blake and this is Walk the Parks. Today we are going to be exploring the Hanging Lake Trail. This is a beautiful, easily accessible hike with pretty relatively low effort for a really large reward. You get to see an amazing alpine lake and a super beautiful waterfall called Spouting Rock. And we're starting right from the parking lot here. This video is going to take us all the way from the parking lot all the way up to Hanging Lake and Spouting Rock. I do have this video set to 2x speed, so keep that in mind. You'll notice this location is actually directly off I-70, which is super convenient. It used to be like just a regular rest stop, and there are like great huge bathrooms there, which is super nice for the beginning of the hike. Obviously, we're doing this hike in winter time. One thing to keep in mind here is you probably need a little bit of additional gear. I would really recommend bringing some sort of traction devices. I used Catula micro spikes, which are awesome. There's also some other brands out there like Yak Track, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other kind of smaller brands as well. I'm just kind of showing you all of the signs in case you're interested in those. But very nice bathrooms at the beginning, and please remember to use them. And as always, you really want to try to leave no trace whatsoever on any hike, particularly here at Hanging Lake. One other really important note to get into before we really start going is that permits are required for this hike at the time of the making of this video. I believe they started requiring permits in 2019, and that still continues. This hike took place on New Year's Day 2024, so Happy New Year whenever you may be watching this. And like I said, obviously you're going to want traction devices because it's icy the whole way, or snowy the whole way. And I'd highly recommend poles. Poles can be super helpful all the time, but particularly when there's, like, this trail actually gets pretty steep. Now, in terms of some statistics, the Hanging Lake Trail itself is approximately 1.2 miles one way, but you do have to follow this bike path first. That beautiful river to the right is the mighty Colorado River, which is kind of frozen over. Absolutely beautiful to go here in the wintertime, as long as you're prepared for the conditions. I would also say, just remember if you're going in the winter that days can be quite short, and you are kind of at the bottom of a pretty steep canyon, so kind of shade and darkness comes earlier than you'd expect. On the hikeglenwood.com website, where you can get permits, they recommend not getting there any later than 1 p.m. So, and just quickly, kind of before we start up the steep part and while we're still on this 1/4 mile long bike path, I just want to kind of remind everybody of some leave no trace ethics. Like on this trail, you would not want to walk off the trail at all, or cut any switchbacks. Remember, there's no restroom at the lake. You do want to use those facilities at the trailhead, and like I said, it is quite a large restroom area there, which is nice. Definitely want to wear sturdy footwear for this trail. It's no joke. I mean, round trip is about 3 miles, including this flat part initially, but it gets pretty steep pretty quick, like you'll see. So you see this bridge to the right, that is kind of the continuation of the bike path. That is not where we go. We are going to go up to the left here. We're just kind of checking out these signs. And a cool thing is there are 7 footbridges, so you can kind of track your progress along the trail, each bridge that you go. There is a nice garbage can right there, which is nice, and just another kind of sign reminding you about your permit. And definitely have a permit. Mine was checked instantaneously when I got there, so definitely keep that in mind. So other leave no trace principles, though, as we kind of start this first section of the trail, um, pack it in, pack it out. Anything you bring up to the lake, do not just throw on the ground or throw away. There is no garbage service past that garbage can right at the bottom that we just passed. So anything beyond that, make sure you're carrying out. Um, Definitely bring water with you, um, and bring plenty of it. Even though this trail, like the Hanging Lake Trail itself, which we're now on, is 1.2 miles, and you might think, oh, that's not that bad. It is steep the whole way. I mean, gaining 1,000 feet of elevation is certainly challenging on any trail, and this one is rocky and steep, so keep that in mind. There is limited cell phone service out here, so be aware of that. At the lake itself, because this is such a pristine area, there is no standing on. There's like a log that's there that looks tempting to stand on. Don't do that. No swimming, no fishing, etc. Also, there are no dogs permitted on the trail, and dogs can't be left in the car. So keep all of that in mind. So now, as you can see, the bottom of the trail, this winter we really haven't gotten that much snow, so there's not too much snow during the first part, or you're kind of in and out of it, which is a bit surprising. I've been really fortunate to hike this trail quite a few times. I've lived in this area for quite a while, and before there were permits, I mean, not every time, but most of the time that I passed this exit on I-70, I would just stop and hike this because it's kind of a quick, beautiful hike. One thing to keep in mind, I am a bit of a fast hiker. I'm not as fast as this video, obviously. This is at 2x speed, but I am quite a fast hiker, so you might want to give yourself more time. And in this trail especially, again, even though it sounds quite short, it hikes a lot longer than it is because you're just going kind of straight up. Steepness is always very challenging to represent on video, but I mean, 1.2 miles, about 1,000 feet. The rule of thumb I kind of always use is like 1,000 feet per mile, which this isn't quite there, but that's pretty steep. So, and I know pretty steep is pretty arbitrary as well, but just keep that in mind. It's definitely a challenging hike. Some other things to keep in mind is when you're driving to Hanging Lake to the trailhead. First off, my God, what an absolutely beautiful section of I-70. If you've never been here, it's such a beautiful drive. It's kind of hard to believe that it's on an interstate, let alone I-70, which is like such a huge, cross-country road. It goes so far, such a major kind of interstate. But Glenwood Canyon is spectacularly beautiful. And then you can only access this, the Hanging Lake exit, which is exit 125, while you're going eastbound. So if you're traveling eastbound, you can just get off exit 125 and boom, you're right there. But if you are going westbound, you're going to actually have to pass, well, you don't even know you go to the exit, but you're gonna have to get off at Grizzly Creek, and if that's closed for some reason, there's a bunch more exits. You can just kind of keep going, turn around, but you do have to get off on, ideally you'd get off at Grizzly Creek, exit 121, turn around, head westbound, and then get off at the Hanging Lake exit 125. Also, when you leave and you're done with the hike, the only option is to be spit back out onto I-70 in a westbound direction, so keep that in mind. You might have to turn around. So that is that, and look at us on the trail making good progress. Now we've full on snow conditions. Winter, I love this hike in the winter. There's all sorts of cool stream, like the stream, which is called Dead Horse Creek. Has all sorts of kind of cool ice in it, and it's really cool right now because there's not that much. When I went, because there wasn't that much snow, so you really kind of got some cool ice formations, and you can kind of see my poles in the corner of some of this here. But absolutely beautiful hike. There were kind of a few more people than I anticipated, but This hike is one of like the most popular in Colorado. I think the reason for it, I mean, even though as I've kind of kept repeating, it's really not that easy. It is still quite short. I mean, the reward of a beautiful waterfall that you'll see and the lake, and sometimes the lake can have this stunning blue color, and it's like crystal clear too. It wasn't like super blue on this hike, as you'll kind of see, but still absolutely beautiful. And then the waterfall, Spouting Rock, is like unbelievable. So makes sense, right? It's on an interstate, so pretty easy to access. And then a pretty big reward for only 3.5 miles, regardless of that you do have to kind of challenge yourself with the elevation gain. And if you're not used to elevation, um, gosh, I mean, just take it slow, drink water, and if you're really in pain or anything, I mean, take a long break or consider turning around. I mean, elevation is no joke, especially if you're not accustomed to it. So, as I mentioned, this we are watching this at 2 times speed, but I am somewhat of a fast hiker. So I wouldn't really use my time as a judgment. Sounds like maybe, I don't know, I would give yourself like like 2 hours for the, I don't know. Hiking is such a difficult thing. Like people are like, how long does it take? And it really has so much to do with your fitness level. And I always try to tell people like estimate a distance to if what's left, if I know that, versus like a time, because time is so variant upon how fit you are. Um, so anyway, up and up we go here. Like as you can see, definitely passed a number of people. It's a fun hike. I love one of the things I love about the outdoors is people are for the most part like very friendly. Like said Happy New Year or someone did to me. Almost everyone I passed, which kind of, I don't know. I love those. I love the happy vibes. It seems like it's an interesting like conundrum, especially as I make this YouTube video. On the one hand, we have so much technology, and we could watch this. It's like I guess you could watch this and be like, do I even need to go to Hanging Lake? But it's also such a different vibe when you are actually out there. Um, so here we are, bridge number 3. As I said, there's 7 bridges along the way, and this trail is great. There's a lot of kind of little benches you can stop at along the way. There's a sign reminding us not to cut switchbacks, but there's like benches, there's good rocks to sit on, and stuff like this, right? I mean, we're in no rush. I was kind of doing this hike for a little bit of a workout, but also just kind of enjoying it. I only filmed on the entire way up, but on the way down, I've kind of relaxed a little bit. I also took a bit of an extended break at the top just to kind of enjoy it. But back to what I was saying about, our technological world. You don't even have to go here. But to contrast that, I find in nature and really the further out into wilderness or backcountry that you get, it's like the longer you're likely to talk to people. Like it's really nice. Like people will say hi to you on the trail, and it's genuine. So, I mean, sometimes you can talk to people for a while, and I find the further out you are, that kind of increases too. Like if you run into somebody just in the middle of nowhere on a long backpacking trip, like I really enjoy doing. It's pretty cool. You almost always have something in common, and maybe you haven't seen another human for a while, so it can be great to just chat them up. But anyway, gotta love the positivity of the outdoors. Puts everyone in a somewhat cheerful mood, which is fantastic. So here we go, just up and up and up. And, if there is a fresh snowstorm, you could be kind of making this trek on your own. And it could be quite a bit more challenging just in terms of route finding if you're unfamiliar. But this trail is so popular that usually within a day or two, even after a snowstorm, unless it's like a huge one, the trail will be pretty well kind of packed down. But that also means that it's icy. I mean, it'll be easier to follow, but definitely also icy. Personally, I love this trail in the winter. I've been a bunch of times in all seasons. It's certainly most popular in the summertime. But and I was wondering this, all over the ground here, there are all these wood chips. So some sort of animal, I think, is living up in that tree. Maybe a chipmunk or a squirrel, and has all sorts of, is just kind of chomping down on that tree. There was a fire here in 2019, which caused quite an extensive amount of damage. And there are some areas, like if you kind of watch this video closely, you'll see where the trees burned like really close to the trail. Um, it's really amazing that all this, you can see all these still green trees, these evergreen trees right next to the creek, survived though. But it's kind of a miracle almost that it, like, the fire got so close but didn't burn this area. So that's awesome. So here we are, bridge number 5. Remember, 5 out of 7, so we're really getting there. And they're not exactly broken up into, like, you're 1/7 of the way there or whatnot. But it's still a great way to kind of measure your progress for how far you're gonna go and you're gonna get. And then, yeah, I kind of remember this part. I was huffing and puffing, and don't worry, I mute the audio on this, and do this as a voiceover because nobody wants to hear me just breathing hard into the microphone, dying on the uphill. And you definitely want to bring warm clothes. Like on the way up, you'll probably be sweating and want to have them in your backpack. But then if you do sweat, or on the way down, it's really nice to bring some clothes. That couple that I just passed, I think I didn't really look too closely, but I think he had spikes, like traction spikes on his shoes, which I would 100% recommend, almost as mandatory for this in the wintertime. But the woman didn't have any, and I was like, oh man, I saw a couple people with no spikes, and it is rough. Like, to be honest, it won't be that bad. Typically in the snow, and living in Colorado, I've been really lucky to do quite a lot of snow hiking. But on a packed down trail like this, going up isn't so bad, but going down can be. So you can get all the way up there and be like, oh, that's not that bad. I didn't need my spikes. But then you turn around and it's just like freaking slip and slide. So definitely be careful there. I think I mentioned this before, but the total hiking distance here is right around 3 miles, maybe a little bit higher. You have about a quarter mile one way from the parking lot to the actual Hanging Lake Trail, and then the trail itself is about 1.2 miles one way, so 2.4 miles round trip there. So yeah, you're looking right at 3 miles total, total round trip. And I hadn't been here since the permit system was implemented. I purchased my permit the day before. I think these are quite competitive in the summertime, though. I was bringing someone to the Eagle Airport, and I was like, this will be a great time to check out Hanging Lake again. Haven't been up here in a while. I'll spend the few bucks on a permit, and I'm really glad I did. However, when I bought the permit the day before, it said only 10 had been sold, and I got there and the parking lot was almost full. And then I immediately got checked, by the way. My permit got checked almost instantaneously. The guy walked right up to me, asked me my last name, showed him my permit. So definitely be aware. And then this is a Civilian Conservation Corps, or CCC, little shelter that they built. I've been really fortunate to do a bunch of hiking around the country, and I can say without doubt that the Civilian Conservation Corps, or CCC, is an amazing organization and have built tons of absolutely incredible trails. Like, my God, they do some incredible rock work some places, and such a cool thing. I believe it was established after the Great Depression as a way to kind of give younger people work, and they made a ton of trails all throughout the country, which is really cool. And a lot of them kind of stand with minimal maintenance today, which is fantastic, especially in our current world where a lot of times maybe we cut corners to try to build things, like as quickly and most economically as possible versus something that lasts a long time. So here's another kind of, do not cut switchbacks. Sometimes it can be a little hard to tell where the switchbacks are, and like I said, there's another really cool, this area right here. I remember I stopped for a while on the way down and checked out like all the ice. Like, you can see the water coming through. There was all sorts of cool like ice formations here. And even though my camera is pointed a little low for most of this, I kind of wish it was pointed a little higher, but that's okay. Always improving, right? I hope that you can kind of get a feel for it regardless. And that's kind of the point of this video, because I feel like, a lot of popular hikes tend to attract some people that aren't real, like, avid hikers, and people that are avid hikers, kind of a wide spectrum. But a lot of times it's like, what is this trail really like? So I'm hoping that that's what you're able to get out of this video. So there we go, number 7. So we're almost there in theory, even though I have 10 minutes left of this video, but some of that includes going to the lake and actually going to Spouting Rock. And then these people, for a long time I thought I'd catch them, but it took me, I didn't really catch them till like pretty close to the end, like, which we're kind of approaching here, but they were quick. I thought I'd get them, but then I was kind of slowing down too and checking out some things here and there, which is cool. But I love, it's great to go on a winter hike like this too, because it's nice that it's packed down. Like so many winter hikes, particularly in Colorado, you have to worry so much about like avalanches, or you got to bring snowshoes or go ski touring in there. I love to be able to go. It's kind of a maybe not unique experience, but a pretty uncommon experience to be able to go down a well-trodden, full-on snow trail in most areas. I'm not sure. Chime in if you're from Alaska and this is all you do or something. And then you can see we're kind of getting towards the end here. So there are some metal rails here, and then there is quite a steep section coming up. There's a woman that looked a little bit kind of intimidated by going down, because there is quite a steep section here. Like you kind of see those people climbing up in front of me, and then it gets even a little bit steeper right after that. But definitely highly recommend this hike though. It's awesome. Even if you do have to play the permit game and fight it a little bit, I still think it's worth it. So we got some big rock steps here, and then here we're kind of waiting for this woman, so I get right up here, and it's all good. I mean, it's really important in the winter too to kind of give everyone some space, because that part right there can be a little sketchy going down, to be honest. All right, so then we're going up. I wish my camera's pointed a little higher, but this is like really steep right there. You get a great viewpoint of like down the canyon there. Gosh, what a beautiful place. I always feel so lucky watching this. It kind of gets me excited and wanting to get back out there. So of course there are a lot of signs, because this is such a heavily trodden area, reminding you to leave no trace, which of course you should. They say, leave only footprints, take only pictures, kill only time. I like the kill only time. That's like and mosquitoes maybe, but I don't know if they left that out. But kill only time we'll go with. I always think that's a funny or kind of cool thing. All right, so I opted to go to Spouting Rock first. In some ways, I would recommend going over to the lake first, because you can kind of take a break. To go up to Spouting Rock, it is spectacular, but it is more of a climb. Like I said, I kind of wanted to get a little bit of a workout here, so I wanted to do the full vertical. And as you can see, this beautiful area we're approaching, it's called Hanging Lake because it was formed by a geologic fault. This is from the U.S. Forest Service. Geologic fault which caused the lake bed to drop away from the valley floor above, and it's really cool. So here's Spouting Rock. First, we're going to look at. First off, this area is very icy, so be careful there. But you can see what a cool, beautiful, you can kind of see the waterfall behind it, and then this beautiful, ice mound that it's created. So cool. Spouting Rock is awesome. It's funny that it's always like, oh, the Hanging Lake Trail, but gosh, Spouting Rock is the true spectacle in my mind. Although Hanging Lake is also spectacular, but don't skip it. It's really not far up here. It's maybe only 100 yards, but I mean, the lake's beautiful too, but make sure to go up here. So I was just taking some pictures with my phone and stuff here. And then I don't know if I should edit this out. At this point, probably not going to. Kind of doing one take of the commentary. So there's some people behind here. Such a cool little cave alcove. And then look at this, just this really cool waterfall right here. It's all kind of splattering, making that huge ice mound again. So absolutely beautiful. And look at me, I'm like filming and getting my phone out and filming that way too. Um, I just love this stuff. It's fun. It makes me happy to make these videos. I hope you guys enjoy it at least a little bit too. So obviously there's people in there, and I wasn't gonna wait all day for them to leave, so that's cool. So absolutely beautiful. Love that. Now we're gonna go down to Hanging Lake. Little tree we have to go under, and then we just go down to the lake. And this part, this end part, I mean, this right here is flat, but this last little part to Hanging Lake is quite steep going down, so certainly be careful. Still not too bad here. And Hanging Lake is quite a popular place. I've been here in the summer when there's a lot of people here. It's kind of funny. People will come up here. Well, not funny. I mean, it's actually pretty cool. People will come up for their wedding or something like that too. Um, so you'll just see people all done up in their, wedding outfits, and it's quite a hike to do in your wedding dress and tuxedo for sure. So, and I kind of cut up to this woman. She was kind of going slow, but let me pass, which was nice for her. Like I said, this part right here is definitely the steepest. Um, but similar to chains on a vehicle, if you've ever used that, oh man, some Catula micro spikes on terrain like this, it's like, God, just like your car becomes like an instant tank in the snow, like as does. It's the same way with micro spikes. So here we are, absolutely beautiful. You can kind of see how clear it is, which is awesome. And then, God, I love Hanging Lake. Such a beautiful place. Sometimes you'll go and like I said, it's way more blue and stuff like that. I don't know what exactly causes like it to be more or less of that beautiful blue color. Whether it's the ice maybe takes away a little bit. Oh, but there it is. God, look how beautiful it is. I love seeing all those icicles coming off too. So definitely go here. Even though this video I mean, it's beautiful. You can tell from this, but you can never capture it on any video really. So I would really recommend coming and checking it out. Such a cool place. So, and you can hang out here for a while, especially like I said, even if you're not an avid hiker. I mean, you do have to do that 1,000 feet of elevation gain, but once you're here, I mean, just look at that. That's amazing. Bring a picnic. Just make sure to be careful. I'm sure there's some crazy rodents and stuff. Don't let them eat any of your food or break into your backpack or anything. And for sure, don't leave any garbage. But great place to have a little meal, hang out, spend the day. Gosh, Hanging Lake. It's kind of, for some reason, it's kind of surprising too. Like, I know Glenwood Canyon itself and the Colorado River is so amazing right by here, but for some reason, in my mind, it's kind of unexpected that something this cool would be like just a mile off the interstate. I don't know whether it's just because it's an interstate or what. So there's the famous log that you're not allowed to go on. It is tempting because people are very tempted to go out there for photos and stuff like that. But I wouldn't go. I especially wouldn't go because of with the permit system. Seems like they've funded some rangers with that to protect this beautiful area. And even though it is tempting, it's kind of like, what a few generations from now, what is this going to be like, and if each one of us kind of does cause a little bit of destruction, it won't be that good. So try to not, leave as little as possible. So this is kind of the end of the trail right here, all the way. And God, I just love it. So if you have any questions about this hike or anything, please put them at the bottom. I would love it if you subscribed. My plan is, and hopefully me saying this in this video will hold me accountable, but I'd like to just record a bunch more hikes like this in their entirety. I think it can be really helpful for people just to kind of see what it's all about, and kind of just get a better idea. Or if there's people out there that aren't able to get out here for whatever reason, for any reason, then at least they can check it out like this, and hopefully my commentary isn't too crazy. I'm also going to try to put out these videos like in a completely silent form, because I've always thought it'd be cool to watch more like if you're on the treadmill or something like that, rather than watch the news or whatever they have, I think it'd be cool to watch something like this instead, for me anyway. So now I kind of just start the hike back down. I actually think I stopped the camera, went back to the lake, and took a break after this. But thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Would love to hear your thoughts, and we'll just end at this beautiful note. Have a wonderful day or evening or whatever it is for you, and we will see you next time.